Hey everyone, it's me, Chris from Body Nova Fitness Coaching. And the question that I have to answer today is, can high reps build muscle, or can you build muscle using higher reps? You know, 15 or more reps. And the answer is yes. Okay. And here's something to think about. Okay. When you look at the research, what is one of your most important factors for gaining muscle? Volume. Okay, it wasn't necessarily lifting. It wasn't lifting the heaviest weights, because at a certain point you will have to you'll perform less reps. Okay, so you recruit more muscle, but eventually, as you keep going heavier, you will not it will not last long enough to help you recruit more muscle. Okay, enough muscle for growth. Okay, rest periods do play a role, but I'll explain that a little bit later. But high reps can build muscle, and the reason being is volume is one of your most critical factors for everything. So, but there's a caveat though. A lot of people, when they perform high rep sets, are sissies about it. And the reason being is that when it starts to feel they'll burn in the muscles, they quit, and they quit for a long time, and they wait to fully recover. And that is not the way to go about it if you're going to use high reps. Okay. You need to operate with short rest though, because if that muscle fully recovers, you're not going to recruit enough muscle. Because if I try to lift this, right, it doesn't take a whole lot of muscle to lift this. All right. But if I keep lifting it without rest, eventually I'm going to get tired. Okay. Because every time you contract your muscle, it temporarily shuts off blood flow until it releases. Then the blood can circulate. Then you give more blood time to circulate and get oxygen to the muscles. Okay. It also prevents things like hydrogen ions, lactic acid, and things like that. It prevents them from getting inside the muscle, because the muscle is when muscles contract, it's a function of chemistry. There's a certain pH within the muscle, and then there's a contraction, and the pH changes, and then the muscle relaxes. Okay, so with lactic acid and hydrogen ions, that disrupts the pH within the muscle. All right, so you have problems you can't get a maximal contraction, or you can't recruit certain muscle. They get tired. Okay, and they can't operate, so you go on to recruit more muscle. Okay, and that is how it works. So if you keep the rest short, you can't get oxygenated blood to the muscles, and it doesn't allow them to recover fully. So you have to recruit more, and you have to recruit more, and you have to recruit more. As long as you can keep going, but eventually you fail. But as long as you can operate under those conditions of short rest and really, really high, hard work, you can do that. You can't be a sissy about it and make the weights much lighter than normal, but under those conditions of short rest, you can create muscle growth. Here's another thing about muscle growth people don't understand. When most people go after muscle growth, there's two ways to do it. There's creating more, let's just say creating more damage to the muscle, and that's normally if let's say you lift between 6 and 12 reps, and you're fatiguing the muscle by lifting the weights, and you go to failure, and that will build muscle. And that's conventional. And the funny thing about that is you'll see mostly guys using that method. Okay. The other way is creating more metabolic stress. Okay. And that what I described with all those, with the pH inside the muscle changing and causing you to recruit more muscle, because the other muscles, the muscles that you have been using can't get enough oxygen, or the pH is disrupted and they can't contract. That is what they call metabolic stress. Okay, So I usually see women using more metabolic stress because you don't have to lift as heavy, but at the same time, you fight fatigue, and because they think if you lift heavy, you're automatically going to gain weight, you're automatically going to get muscle and become, big like the people in magazines. So is one better than the other? No, you don't want to stick to one method of anything forever, because one thing we know about exercise, whatever you do, your body's going to find a way to adapt to it. So if you keep using the the conventional way of lifting to build muscle, you're going to get used to it. If you try to build up, those fatigue factors, and use more metabolic stress, like I explained, your body's going to adapt to it. So it's going to get harder to create the conditions for growth or whatever it is. I mean, because metabolic stress also causes fat loss, so you get more resistant to what also causes your fat loss. So in reality, you want to rotate the methods that you're using, and that's kind of where smart training is about, where you look at how you're making progress, and when it starts to slow down, you switch to another method to make progress, or another way of making progress.